Hello and welcome to The Voluntarist. I was on Reddit and an interesting question was posed. It said, what would happen to your ideology? And by that they just meant like socialism or capitalism or anarcho-capitalism, or voluntarism, or anything, communism. So what would happen to your ideology um, once we reach a post-labor society, where machines and technology did all of the work for us and everyone just got to lay about all day doing whatever their heart desired, and everything was just provided to them by the machines and robots that did all the work for us. And so I was sitting there thinking, like, this is a communist dream, right? Communist dream of this kind of society. There's no more icky jobs to do. And then the messy problem, the messy ethical problem of communism, which is you're going to have people who kind of like just mooch off of the labor of everyone else. That disappears because the only things doing the labor would be robots. So you don't have to feel guilty for being a parasite on society, because the only people the only things providing you with their labor would be machines, which aren't people and have no rights. So I mean they're machines. It's like a typewriter or a computer. So this is like a communist paradise. All of the bad ethical things about communism just kind of fade away because robots are doing all the work. Now you've got and then capitalists. This is kind of their dream society, right? Because society has become so productive thanks to technology that no one has to work anymore. So it's the communist dream society, it's the capitalist dream society, it's everyone's dream society. A post-labor society is essentially the end goal of all of the major economic ideologies. And then as a voluntarist, I see nothing wrong with it. That's an extremely voluntarist thing to say. It's like, I don't see anything wrong with it. It doesn't violate the non-aggression principle. No one's inflicting force or violence on someone. It's such a stereotypical voluntarist thing to say, but it's true. Like, and I assume, of course, that I heard a story on NPR once. I was listening, and they had reached a post-labor society, but it was enforced by the state. Like the state, it wasn't just something that happened. It wasn't just that people stopped working because they no longer had to. The state was enforcing it. So like if you worked to produce something, or you were providing a good or service in any way that could be provided by a robot, you were put in prison. And it was just a dystopian story to make you think about things. Really, the thing about, I'm going off on a tangent here, but the thing about that story was it was intended to make you think about the evils of technological advancement displacing people out of work, and how people need to work to feel alive and feel like they have a purpose. But really, the antagonist in the story wasn't the technology, it was the state. But no one listening to freaking NPR, or most people who listen to NPR, are liberals, or your very average person who just views the state as something that's always going to be there and always going to be involved in everything, and nothing's wrong with that. But it was intended to make you think about technology displacing people out of the workplace, and thus like devoiding their life of reason and purpose. But really, it's the state forcing you not to work. Like in the story, there were people on the black market trying to produce things with their hands. Like they were doing like wood carving and crafts and things, which was illegal. Not because technology made it illegal. Technology doesn't make things illegal. The state made it illegal. I mean, if you really want to get into the details, technology disincentivizes you from doing certain things because it's easier to use the technology to do those things. Like the robots could do everything. Why not just let the robots do it? Well, these people enjoyed doing things with their hands. It gave them a sense of purpose. But yeah, so I just thought that was utterly ridiculous, the way that, I mean, once you put on the goggles, the voluntarist goggles, and you're able to interpret these stories. It's so once you have developed a solid voluntarist mode of criticism, and you're able to digest literature and stories and news, and then view it through the lens of the state is coercion, free will should be paramount in every transaction, free and voluntary exchange is mutually beneficial, how can we maximize that? Once you're able to look at the world through this tint, the voluntarist tint, the Instagram filter of voluntarism, things start to make a lot more sense. That story is a great example, but now I've gone off on a tangent. So back to what we were talking about, which is the original question: what would even happen to communism, capitalism, voluntarism in a post-labor society? So eventually I came around to the idea that since a post-labor society is the end goal of everyone, right? It's basically what we all want. Assuming that the state isn't going to throw you in prison for working. Which, you know what, I wouldn't put it past the state, to be honest. That could totally be something that happens. But I'm not going to go and discuss that story anymore because I've already spent enough time doing that. So, assuming this is something that everyone wants, from the point of view of utilitarianism, shouldn't we maximize our efforts to obtain a society like that? So, then I said that I think we would get to a post-labor society a lot faster with voluntarism. And then some guy came back and was like, "Why? Explain yourself. Why?" Because I ended with a triple period, kind of trailing off into the distance. So admittedly, that did need more of an explanation. But I came back and then I said, technological and economic progress are best facilitated by lack of regulation and strong property rights. So if the commies could put up with free market stuff for a while, we'd get to the post-labor society much faster. And then we'd have nothing left to argue about. Because no one would have to work anyway, so there's no... And the only people working are robots, so there's no ethical question anymore, and everyone's got everything that they need. It's utopian. Extremely utopian. Assuming the state stays out of it. So the reason of this video, now that I'm so many minutes in, is that I believe that communists and capitalists and all of the other ists and isms can come together on this one thing, and that is achieving a post-labor society. And in this regard, I believe that Marx might have actually been right after all. Because he said that capitalism is like a passing phase, and then communism will come in afterwards. And you know what? He might be right, but we have to use capitalism to get to the point where no one has to work anymore. We use the free market and voluntary transactions and property rights to advance technological and economic progress to the point where robots do all the work and everyone can basically do whatever they want. You see what I'm getting at? If the commies could just deal with the free market until we get to that point, then we would essentially revert to a state of communism where the collective, the human beings, would just be benefiting from the labor of robots and machines. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like a good idea to me. Eventually, we will get there because, I mean, we're already seeing technology take over labor. So it's not outside the realm of possibility to think that something like this could happen. But we'll get there a lot faster if we unleash the full force of the free market and allow it to happen already. So that's just my 2 cents. This was totally off the cuff. just off the top of my head. I just thought it was an interesting concept to maybe try and make a soft coalition with people who are not necessarily fans of the free market. So if you like this video or thought it was thought-provoking, please leave a like. If you have anything you want to add to the conversation, or maybe offer a counterpoint or something like that, please leave it down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.